What's going on, Jets fans? Welcome in, Jets. Today we got another episode of free agency. It's day 2 of free agency, and I am fired up, and I'm sure that many of you are. It was a hell of a day 2, I gotta say. I think that day 2 might have actually been better than day 1. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Everybody that's joining right now, let me know what you thought about the signing of DJ Reed, the cornerback from the Seattle Seahawks, safety Jordan Whitehead from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I don't know if you've noticed, there's a trend with all of the guys that we are signing to this football team in free agency. Every single one of these guys is coming from a team that is coming off of very successful, last couple of seasons. The Bengals went to the Super Bowl. The Buccaneers have been to the Super Bowl, been in the playoffs the last 2 years. Jordan Whitehead has been a part of that. The Seattle Seahawks, competitive team, and I guess they made the playoffs 2 years ago. I'm not sure, whatever it may have been. DJ Reed coming from the Seattle Seahawks, though. And then, of course, Laken Tomlinson coming from the San Francisco 49ers, and these are leaders coming over from their teams. And the thing, again, that I talked about in the last stream that gets me so hyped up is that the players on these teams are talking about how badly they are disappointed that these guys are leaving. These are really good football players. Yes, Jets gang, Jordan Whitehead got his ring with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in 2020. They won the Super Bowl 2 years ago. And yeah, dude, I have to say, of all the signings we've made, and there have been a bunch of really good ones now, I think Whitehead's actually one of my favorites. I think that he is so young. He's only 24 years old still, and he is versatile. So I'm not going to waste any time. I'm actually going to show off a couple of things that I found. The first thing, and you probably heard this one already, he is the cousin of Darrelle Revis, which is pretty freaking cool, right? He's related to Darrelle Revis, a close relative, I would even say. That's awesome. I mean, does it mean anything? Is he going to be as good as Darrelle Revis? Almost certainly not. But it's exciting, and it's cool that there's some familiarity, within the family playing for the New York Jets. Before I keep going, I just want to thank you guys for tuning in yet again. This has just been tons of fun these last 72 hours, streaming and hosting these streams with you guys. Emanon is here. Braden is here. Thank you for tuning in, Braden. Matthias Simon is here. Harry W. Vern. Pure Adrenaline Fantasy Sports is here. Jets Gang. Steven Engel. NFL Chaos with Jeremy. Y'all are tuned in and night out, and I can't thank you enough. And special shout out to Michael Elias, who actually, he tweeted me, or he DM'd me, I should say, on Twitter, and he's like, dude, you do realize you're about to go live during the Talkin' Jets panel? I was like, holy crap, didn't even think about it. So I rescheduled for 7 p.m. I don't think I'm quite ready to take on that beast, I'll stick to the 7 o'clock window here, and we'll just have some fun. So NFL Chaos with Jeremy, he throws a great comment in here. He's just entering his prime. He is going to be turning 25 very, very soon. He's super young and has a lot of really good experience, obviously, playing for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and competing for a championship. It's a luxury that we now have a couple of players that come from really good football teams, and it's just super exciting to be able to, to get these guys on the squad. Here's the thing that I was talking about earlier with Jordan Whitehead. This is a Swiss Army knife safety, and I will give full credit to Michael Nania of Jets X Factor. So this is not me, claiming this as my own. This is certainly not my work here, but look at these numbers here. Look at how he played in the box 36.5% of the time. He played the free safety position, and I assume that means playing, back in coverage 28% of the time. He played slot cornerback 21% of the time. Edge, outside cornerback. I think that this versatility is right up Joe Douglas's alley, and it's right up, any defensive coordinator is going to want a guy that can play all of those different positions. It's super exciting to get a guy that isn't just a box safety. This is clearly a guy that can play all over the football field. And I do have another tidbit on Whitehead, and I'm going to show you in just a moment. I want to get to a couple more comments here. Steven Engel, he says, I was going to say smart move for making the 7, but I didn't want to be rude. Hey, it's all good. No hard feelings. Are you kidding me? I'm not that kind of person. So no worries. Joe Grana, he says, are there any moves left in our bag of tricks? So the reporting from Connor Hughes, which by the way, tip of the cap to Connor Hughes, he has been all over day 2 free agency. He really has been kind of hitting, pretty much all of the news. He's been breaking it in some cases, like the entire National Football League. He was the one that broke the stories. So that's pretty impressive work by him. He had mentioned that the New York Jets are likely going to be cooling down a little bit here, and they're going to start to look for those guys that are going to be depth pieces. And I don't want that to sound like an unsexy thing. They're getting depth pieces is a very, very important thing for this football team. We certainly saw the number of injuries that we've had the last couple of years. And so if that's where Joe Douglas is going to turn his attention now, and try to add depth to, some of these thinner positions, I say go at it, go berserk, add as many, veterans that you can. I think LDT could possibly be somebody that they bring back. The rumor right now is that Marcus May could potentially be brought back as well. So I say the more the merrier. And that these guys that, the longer they sit in free agency, you can probably get a pretty good deal. That's what happened with Morgan Moses last offseason. We were able to get him for a really reasonable contract. I think it was like 1 year, $5.5 million, something like that. We can do that again. And I think that's what Joe Douglas should do, is he should kind of cool off now. We hit on so many big needs, guys. Offensive line, the right guard spot has been filled. We've filled our cornerback spot, our safety spot, tight end spot. These are all positions that had just dire needs, and we filled them with starters. It wasn't just, guys that we're kind of hoping can be starters. These are all capable players, and that's kind of the good news here out of today and yesterday. Okay, DJ Reed was the 10th rated cornerback in Pro Football Focus. I do have some notes on him as well. I'm going to share this next thing with Jordan Whitehead because I didn't realize that there was such a discrepancy. And again, full credit to Michael Nania. He is the brains behind this, obviously. He says you do not want to ask Jordan Whitehead to man up much because he's a force in the zone. So taking a look at the reps, he has a passer rating of almost 158.3, almost a perfect passer rating when he is man-to-man on his opponent. And then the PFF coverage grade is in the 60. He's the 60th best safety out of 65. But then you take a look at those zone coverage ranks, 6th in the passer rating allowed, 4th in PFF coverage. So whatever role they want to put him in, whatever, because we talked about his versatility just a few seconds ago, whatever role they have in mind for him, they need to make sure that he's in zone. I think that's something that, I learned just by doing a little bit of digging. And, I think that they'll do that. I think that they're smart enough to know that that's certainly his strength, clearly. And I don't know if I've ever seen such a discrepancy between man and zone from a player before. That is a very, very stark difference. Now you're taking on Connor Hughes podcasts. Yeah, I mean, listen, he's done a great job. I actually haven't watched I don't watch the Can't Wait podcast, but, full credit to Connor Hughes, man. He really did. He's been doing a great job the last, 24 hours. Harry W. says, I think I remember Whitehead being Revis's relative during the draft. I did not remember that from the draft, so kudos to you. I missed that one for sure. Steven Kapler, he says, Reed is so underrated. Dude is such a beast. We need many depth pieces and many positions still. I think you could still say that we need safety help. We need wide receiver help. We need tight end help. And again, that's the benefit of the draft and having so many early draft picks. We still have all of the chips on our side of the table. We're going to be able to address these needs. New York Bully, what's going on, dude? He says, is there any chance that we get Miles Jack? So I already knew that Robert Saleh had experience coaching him. He was the linebackers coach with the Jaguars, but I didn't realize that Jeff Ulbrich was his coach at UCLA, which is really interesting. So there's two guys that have worked very closely with Miles Jack. I think there's a really decent shot. Again, kind of like what I was talking about last night, a lot of this is going to depend on price because I don't think the Jets have a ton of money right now to go, slapping it in the air at Miles Jack. Couldn't they sign him? Yes. I think there's definitely the case that they should go after him, but we'll see. It's not going to be a big contract. And, we already know that Joe Douglas is not going to mortgage the future with these free agent contracts. So it's going to depend on if Miles Jack, does he want to play for his former coaches? Does he want to play with some guys that he's familiar with? He certainly would have a role on this defense, right? And it would be great to be able to fill that hole prior to the NFL draft. Let's keep it moving here. Vern saying Pinnock is supposed to start, I hear. If that's the case, wow. Because then that draft class gets even better. The 2021 draft class would be a blow up. If Pinnock becomes a starter, holy crap. You would have starters in Zach Wilson, Elijah Vera Tucker, Michael Carter, Elijah Moore, and Jason Pinnock. Home freaking run draft class if that's the case. I still think he's going to have to fight his way and earn that spot. I mean, obviously, I think that Joyner's no pushover. I think that clearly Jordan Whitehead's a starter for us. So we'll see. Jason Pinnock's going to probably be on the roster, and Elijah Riley is still coming back. He was a safety on our team last year. There's so many comments already. Oh, howdy. Stelio Cantos from Howdy. He says, howdy from UK Jets. What's going on, dude? Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate that. Lots of comments already. So before I move on, if you guys wouldn't mind already, we got like 75 of you in here. Go ahead and jet up that like button. This is not going to be a long stream tonight. I'm going to stream you all the way to the Talkin' Jets show, which is going to start at 8 o'clock. And again, thank you again to Michael Elias for not allowing me to stream at 8 o'clock. That would have been a disaster probably. Let's see here. Let's keep going to these comments. Would love to sign I'm sorry, I think he means LDT and Marcus May. Yes. I don't think Marcus May he's not going to cost a lot. Regardless of who he signs with, I think he's going to be a cheap 1-year deal. I don't think he's going to get the contract that he obviously was hoping for. And yeah, I would bring him back. And there's some familiarity there. They like him as a leader. I think I think Robert Saleh has, talked a lot about him and how he is in the locker room and the leader that he is, the man that he is. So I'm up for it. Fast Car Polito 68. If I'm pronouncing your name wrong, I do apologize. He says, I think they go get everyone and load up on pass rushers in the draft. Thank you for putting that in the comments. Let's talk about that. There's no way the New York Jets are getting out of the first round without taking at least one edge rusher. There's no freaking chance. No way, guys. We will. Thank you for the super chat, Buffalo Jets fan. Thank you very, very much. Please put a comment in there and I will try to grab it and read it. There's no shot. And I think that, there's even a chance that they double up in round 1 and then go in round 2 and take another edge rusher. Sort of what the San Francisco 49ers did when Robert Saleh was there and when, when they went and drafted and they signed a veteran free agent. They went very heavy on adding edge rushers and it ultimately got them to the Super Bowl a couple of years ago. I wouldn't put it past the Jets to just go and invest heavily on the edge position. But yeah, how are we not taking Kayvon Thibodeau at 4 now? Clearly that's the one position that we haven't gone after, that and wide receiver. So, and if it's not Kayvon Thibodeau, Trayvon Walker out of Georgia, George Karlaftis out of Purdue, Jermaine Johnson, probably my favorite guy at 10 if we're going to take one. I think that would be incredible. Just absolutely incredible. So yeah, edge is certainly got to be a priority. Mike Manishevitz, Mike, he says, great moves. This is a 4-year plan for the New York Jets. And yeah, this is what, year 3 now? So if things break our way and if Zach Wilson takes the steps that we need him to take going, into this season, the next off season is going to be, let's push all the chips in. Let's get all of our chips in there and let's get ready for the party, basically. Jets Gang says Whitehead and Hamilton. I never really thought that there was a realistic chance that the Jets would take Kyle Hamilton. I didn't rule it out completely. I still don't personally see that as an option unless he falls to 10. If we're at 4, though, I don't think we're going to take Kyle Hamilton. If he's there at 10, you certainly would consider it, right? I think that the value then becomes kind of too hard to pass up. We still need a safety. And I still like the idea of getting one in the second round. Brisker, Seen, Pitre, Hill, these are all guys that I think could be there, and I would be very interested in grabbing one of those guys. Let's keep it going. Yeah, Harry, we have to go edge at 4 or 10. It doesn't have to be at 4, but it certainly needs to happen in the first round. All right, Jets. Thank you very much, Michael. That was very kind of you. All joking aside, that really was a helpful thing for you to do. I really do appreciate that. All right. Vern, there is a chance for Kyle Hamilton, I think you're saying. And of course, I'm not ruling it out completely. I don't think it will happen, though. I think that they are going to opt for an edge rusher at 4, and they will potentially look for another safety like in Marcus May, the free agent market, or they will go and look for the better value. That's just my take on it. All right, let's see what the Buffalo Jet fan says. He sent me a couple of super chats. Really appreciate that support, my man. And he says, edge at 4, wide receiver at 10, tight end 35, linebacker at 38, best player available the rest of the way. I might even say safety at 35 and keep linebacker at 38. Go get your tight end at pick 69. There is going to be really, really good value in that 3rd, 4th round range for a tight end. Having said that, though, I agree with the rest of it. I would love to get a linebacker in round 2. I think wide receiver at 10 makes a ton of sense. Drake London or Garrett Wilson. And then your edge at 4, it just feels like it's supposed to happen, Joe Douglas has spent 2 first-round picks on offensive linemen already in his short tenure. He's going to go defensive line now, right? Like that's what it feels so much like that's going to happen. It just feels like it's not destiny, but it feels like that's the way they are trending at this point. Denzel Mims Matters. He's sent me a super chat, so I'm going to read it. Thank you, Denzel Mims Matters. He says, any chance that we sign Miles Jack? Yeah, I was talking earlier about that. Yeah, I think that there is a chance. So we need a linebacker. So right now, let's talk about who we have. We have CJ Mosley, I think great veteran, the leader of the defense, the heart and the soul. We have Quincy Williams. We do not have Jared Davis coming back. What else do we have? Who are the other names that you're looking at to say, yeah, these guys are definite, clear-cut starters? I know we have Jamian Sherwood. I know we have Hamza Nasruddin. And the reporting right now is that these guys are getting their bodies right. And what I mean by that is they're obviously going to need to get healthy, Jamian Sherwood specifically. But they're putting on weight and they're getting stronger. And I think that's a huge thing for them. Obviously, having to transition from safety in college to linebacker in the pros, I think that it makes too much sense to go get yourself a Miles Jack, and then you kind of have a little bit of like a rotation at linebacker. You give these guys opportunities to play, and I think, again, Jamian Sherwood and Hamza Nasruddin offer upside on special teams. So even if you're sitting here saying, okay, they're not They're not going to end up as starters. Okay, great. That's fine. You are not going to hit on every draft pick in the NFL draft. We've talked about that on the channel all the time. If they become key contributors on special teams, check. That's huge. And if they're good backup linebackers, even better. So to answer your question, yes, there is a chance. And I think, again, it comes down to dollars. What will Joe Douglas be willing to pay to get him? There's a ton of familiarity on the coaching staff with him. Ulbrich at UCLA and Robert Saleh at Jacksonville. Thank you again for the super chat. Really appreciate it. All right, Matt Morris. What this offseason shows me most is that the Jets organization is sold on Zach Wilson. Hell of a comment. And no, my dumb brain didn't think of that. And you're right. Maybe, behind the scenes and through film study, reviewing their own players, maybe what they saw really proved something to them, and they see that this guy is ready to take off and to get going. So yeah, there's certainly that chance, and I'm smiling now because you've put that in my brain. Maybe they feel like they can invest, into some veterans because Zach Wilson's going to take the step. And I'm not saying like a Patrick Mahomes type of step from year 1 to year 2. All I'm saying is if he is ready to improve as a football player, do what you can to surround this kid. Alrighty. Let's see. There are 5 positions on the offensive line, Carmelo. But I think that we've addressed the starting positions, right? All of them. Left tackle, George Fant. Left guard, Elijah Vera Tucker. Connor McGovern is the center. Right guard is Laken Tomlinson. And right tackle is Mekhi Becton. I think that we are strong up front. It is the strongest it's been in several years. And you could even make the case that this is the best offensive line the New York Jets have had since the 2010 season. I don't think that's an outrageous take. I'm not saying they're as good as the 2010 offensive line. I am saying that it's the best since then, though. And I don't think it's crazy to say that. You got to keep finding depth in free agency for this offensive line, and you damn well better draft players in the mid to late rounds so that you have this farming system going. That's the key to offensive line. You have to have guys learning behind the starters and developing. I don't want to start rookies anymore. I talked about that on the channel. I would like to move forward now with our guys for at least the next year or two. And let's not start a rookie. Let's start our veterans. Let's start the guys that have the experience in the system and have been with this team for the longer amount of time. But keep adding to the pile. And I think that's what you're trying to tell me, Carmelo, is just keep adding to the offensive line. Okay. Grant Rude says, hit that like button, guys. Come on. 3 days in a row. I am exhausted. My God, I am tired. I will say. And there's going to be a 4th day in a row because tomorrow is James and me. We're going to be streaming again tomorrow. It's going to be... I might be dead on Wednesday night. Okay, let's keep going. What do we do with Mims after the season if he sucks this year? I think that he might be gone. I think he might be gone. He might not even get a chance to play this year, which really stinks. Which really, really stinks. I hope that he can. I hope that he does a great job in this offseason and does exactly what Joe Douglas said he was doing, which is attacking the offseason. We need him to crush this offseason. Buffalo Jet fan, super generous of you. Way too generous. Thank you very, very much for the super chat. Really appreciate that. Yeah, I don't know what to say. I think if he were to make the team and he stunk this year, there's no way he's coming back. And there's a good chance he's not coming back this year. So yeah, I think he would be for sure cut. Let's take a look here. Matt Morris says the only person that I'm okay reaching for is McBride if they like him. I think the only way I'm reaching is taking him at, in the 2nd round. I'm not going crazy here and taking him in the 1st round. I'm not trading up for him in the 1st round. Zane Game, thank you very, very much for the super chat. Did you put a comment in there? Let's see. Oh my gosh, you guys are blitzing me here. This is very, very tough to keep up with. I'm going to do my best. All right. Back to what I was saying. McBride in the second round, I think, is not a reach, but I think that's about my limit. I wouldn't go any higher. I'm not trading up in the first round to go get him. So hope that answers your question. William says we won't know about Zach until year 3. That's probably true, but you got to see that growth, right? You got to see that trajectory of improvement for him. I am Vern. I think that, can he win the left tackle spot? Absolutely. But I feel like if he gets on that right side and he's okay with it, watch the hell out. I think I will make a bold statement. If Mekhi Becton plays on the right side, I think he has a chance to make the Pro Bowl and be one of the best right tackles in the National Football League. Doesn't he just look like a right tackle? I know he's played left tackle and he's played right tackle at Louisville. Put that dude on the right side and let him gobble up defensive ends. Let him just do what he does best. I think he would be an absolute unit on the right side. All right, let's get to this super chat. The Buffalo Jet fan, he says, O-line could be top 8 in the NFL. The depth is the major concern, and I do agree. If you bring back LDT, draft a center / swing tackle in the mid rounds. If Becton came out this year, he'd be in play for the number 1 overall pick. Yeah, Becton was no joke when he came out. There was a lot of intrigue. Guys that I really respect, like Daniel Jeremiah, were really, really high on him. And that's still my feeling, man. Keep getting offensive line help by adding more depth. When we signed Greg Van Roten, he started for us. He should never have been a starter. And the only reason why we did that is because we didn't have anything else better to do. We couldn't get another player in that lineup that was better. We were stuck. And so now we're finally at the situation where we've got our 5 starters, in my opinion. And now you can start to really build the depth. And I think that's what they're going to do. I think we're going to see that over the next month. We're going to see the New York Jets add to the depth to the offensive line. All right, Zane Game, thank you again for that super chat. He says the Jets got you working overtime. Great stuff. Yes, they do, don't they? Every night I come home and I'm look at my wife and I go, I don't think I'm going to stream tonight. I said, I don't think I got the energy tonight. And she's like, every single time she looks at me, she's like, you're an idiot. She's like, you're going to stream and you're going to stream. It's just too much. It's too much excitement, right? I don't know how to pronounce your name, but thank you very, very much. I guess it's Polly. Thank you very much for subscribing to the channel. Really appreciate that. We're super close to 2,000 subscribers. And while I have about 130 of you, I am going to be doing a giveaway for the NFL draft, and I will be starting to put that in the videos once I start making videos again, which will hopefully happen this weekend. I'm going to start, talking about that in the videos. I'm going to give away a jersey. I'm going to give away a draft jersey. You can pick the player that you want on your jersey. I'm going to give it away to one of my subscribers on the channel. So spread the word, baby. I want to give it away, and I'm looking to give it away to one of you guys. You are all some really great supporters of the channel, and it means a lot. So thank you very, very much. All right, let's keep going here. Jeremy Ruckert in the 3rd round is my dream. That's why I say pick 69. It's got to go. I think it's got to be tight end there. I think it's just too perfect. Jeremy Ruckert is he's not my tight end 1 in this draft, but I think that's the best value. Where you can get him and what we're going to be asking our tight ends to do, being contributing blockers in the running game. And I think he would complement what CJ Uzomah does as well. I think that he would be a perfect guy to come in. He would be tight end 2 on this offense. And again, day 1 blocker right away. We'll have a contributor in the NFL draft, which is what you're looking for. You want to get guys that can come in and play right away, or as soon as possible, I should say. So many different people in here. You all have... He says, I I'm sorry, Ildy. Good content, bro. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. Thank you for teaching me how to say your name, Ildy. I will have to practice that one. Jamal Simpson with the super chat. Thank you very much, sir. He says, now who are we drafting at 4 and 10? No Gardner. Holla. Okay. It's clear to me. 4, take your edge. And then 10, take your wide receiver. So right now, off the top of my head, I'm saying Kayvon Thibodeau at 4 or Jermaine Johnson at 4 if Kayvon Thibodeau's not there. And then draft pick number 10, I think you go Garrett Wilson or Drake London. And I think that this is one of my things. I think there's a dark horse chance that the Jets actually have Drake London as wide receiver 1 in this draft. I think there's a chance. I think they might really like this kid a lot. I'm not saying I would take him ahead of Garrett Wilson. I'm throwing that out there. I think that the Jets and I think Joe Douglas, he might really like this kid. So if you're asking me to put money on it right now, I'm going to say Kayvon Thibodeau and Garrett Wilson. And my God, what an offseason. What a draft that would be. Crazy, crazy, huge. That would be huge for our team to get those 2 players. Nicholas Sarka, he says the Jets need to cut players to create more cap space. So, Ildy, he's like, there you go. Nicholas, so they don't actually, so I hear what you're saying. You want them to cut guys like Greg Van Roten. I think he's still under contract. You want them to cut guys maybe like Michael Pirine, get him off the team, save some money. There are some other players too. You could cut the linebacker. What the hell is his name? From Minnesota. I can't remember his name. Always injured. Blake Cashman. You can cut him and save a couple of bucks as well. I don't know if they need to do that right now, but they should do it soon though, because if they keep adding depth, why are we hanging on to these guys, right? And I think that's what you're kind of saying. What's the point? Why keep these guys on the team? All right, good stuff. I appreciate that. Yeah, dude, I will say that's one of the hardest things is setting all this up. But I really appreciate you commenting and saying that. It makes me feel better. It makes me feel like I'm not wasting my life trying to make the screen look pretty. So thank you very much. Sean McAteer. He says Trayvon Walker at 4, Tyler Linderbaum at 10, take a wide receiver at 35, take a tight end at 38. If Joe Douglas is head over heels in love with Tyler Linderbaum and he takes him, I'll be excited. But I don't think he's going to do that. I'm just guessing. I don't think he's going to do that though. Could he? Yes. And would it be a big deal for the Jets? Even more so, yes. Because then you're talking about, for sure, one of the most talented offensive lines we've ever had, and certainly 3 first-round picks on the offensive line. We would have a very, very good offensive line. And also, drafting Tyler Linderbaum would allow us to move on from Connor McGovern, and you'd save $9 million. And getting back to what Nicholas said, we could then be buyers after the draft. Kind of like when we picked up Morgan Moses. We would have flexibility cap space wise to be able to make even more moves after those cuts in June and after the NFL draft. I think that that's a very intriguing option to consider. Taking a Linderbaum, cutting McGovern, and then being able to have some more cap flexibility. I don't know if they'll do it though, but I think there's a lot of intrigue there. Obviously, there's a ton of fans that see the history of the New York Jets, Joe Fields, Kevin Mawai, Nick Mangold. There's been a bevy of centers on this team over the years, and our best teams were with really, really good centers. I'm not saying that that's the reason we had great teams, but our best football teams in our franchise history has been with great center play. So I hear you loud and clear. There are a lot of people that support the idea of going and getting him. We'll see. We will see. And I don't think 10 is drastically early. I think that he's going to go probably in that, I don't know, let's say 10 to 18 range, somewhere in there, I would imagine. I don't think he goes earlier than 10. He's a damn good center. Connor Hughes just said now, people in the building still want May and they still like him. Yes, I heard the same report. I don't know if he's live right now. But yeah, I saw the same report from him, is that Robert Saleh has been talking a lot about him. And yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine with that. He would probably be a starter, and it would eliminate the need to draft one, right? We would still have Marcus May. We'd have Marcus Joyner, Jordan Whitehead, Ashton Davis as a backup, Elijah Riley, Jason Pinnock, plenty of guys to, rotate and to let the cream rise to the top. Let those guys fight for the spots in the starting lineup. James Williams, this is an interesting comment. So he's saying, let's go sign Von Miller. I don't know about that. I think they certainly could use him. I don't know if they have the cash for it right now. I think they are now finally at their point where they are going to use whatever that's allotted left for filling out the roster. Excuse me. And getting some more depth. Lil Mule. Oh, I love that. Got the Elijah Moore profile. That's awesome. He says they should get tackles. And I think you're talking about offensive tackles. Yes, they should draft one in the mid rounds, I think. And potentially sign somebody, maybe get Morgan Moses back as a depth piece. I don't know if he wants to come back as a I don't know if he wants to come back as a backup, but I'm down for that for sure. All right, let's keep moving here. You guys are flying through the comments. Let's go. I said a name right. McAteer. Appreciate you, buddy. Thank you for commenting and thank you for watching tonight. 150 of you. Go ahead and hit the like button. We're only halfway there. We've only been streaming for 36 minutes. Let's get to 150 likes before I get off for the night. And by the way, super duper close to 2,000 subscribers. I really cannot thank you guys enough. The last 3 days have been incredible. So much support. So let's keep it moving here. Thank you guys very, very much for all the activity. The chats have been fantastic. Bino, 3 nights in a row you've been here, my man. Thank you very, very much for tuning in. He says JD is going at free agency just like I thought he would. Solid moves, 2 to 3 year deals, staying away from the big money guys. I think that he has done such a great job in a couple of different scenarios this offseason. Number one, I think a lot of people agree that Marcus Williams at $14 million per year is a damn good buy by the Baltimore Ravens. Having said that, though, the contract that we get Mr. Jordan Whitehead for at, 2 years, like 14 million, something like that, 14 and a half. That's a great value. There were a lot of people that cover the Buccaneers talking about what an awesome value that was, how he's a great football player. That's what Joe Douglas is in a nutshell. He's not going to go and outbid somebody else. He's going to go find the value in free agency. And you hit the nail right on the head, Bino. He's going to stay away from those big money guys and find where the value is in free agency. Oh, Mini Vinny Gamer. He says, who do you want it for? Kayvon Thibodeau. Easy answer for me right now. I think he's got to be the choice if he's there. If Kayvon's not there, you could make the case for maybe Garrett Wilson reaching just a little bit to get him. And then if not Garrett Wilson, I think I'm going Jermaine Johnson. That's my route. Angel Garcia, Kareem Carson, no to Stingley, yes to Sauce Gardner. I think cornerback might actually be a done deal. DJ Reed, let me put up a couple of things here. So this is from earlier. This is from Ari Mirov, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly. He says that DJ Reed finished this past season with a career best 78.6 PFF grade. He's strong against the run, 86 almost. Very underrated player. This is a good coverage cornerback. He's 5'9", so he's on the shorter side. But we have another cornerback that's nice and tall. Bryce Hall is there, and I think they really like what they have in Brandon Echols. I really think that they see him as a guy that could become a really good starter on this defense in the long run. Joe Grana cut everyone and signed Chandler Jones. I don't think so. Mekhi Higgins, he said, man, I love the sweet profile pictures. This is pretty cool. He says Chandler Jones would fill the empty void in my heart. He was, I believe he was born in New York, actually. So he is a New York native. I have to imagine he would like to play for us, right? But then that's the other question. Does he want to play for a team that's ready to win right this minute and right now? Hard to know. Dude, what's funny? I love that show. It's my favorite show of all time. And so if I'm Jesse Pinkman, yeah, bitch. Let's go. I love it. All right, we got a super chat from Mitch. He says, John, great show as always. How much do the Jets spend in free agency? Go Jets. JD is killing it for sure. How much do the Jets spend in free agency? Well, I don't know what the total is right now as far as like how much. I guess I could do the math really quickly. I think that, what's his face? Uzama was $8 million. Laken Tomlinson was, put it in the chat. That one I don't know offhand. I want to say it was like 11 mil. Or no, it was 14. 14 for Tomlinson. And DJ Reed was 11 mil. And then Jordan Whitehead was 7 mil. So that's about 21, 29. Okay, that's 40 million. So I just did the math. There you go. $40 million we've spent so far, on a average per year basis. I don't know how much more they can spend. And that's kind of why I'm saying I think they're going to go and they're going to cool the Jets a little bit here, and they're going to go for the depth pieces from here on out. There's not going to be any more big splash moves. I don't think Allen Robinson's in the cards. Excuse me. I don't think Chandler Jones is in the cards. They're all great players. I just don't think they have the money. And they certainly have spent a hell of a lot of money right now. Jupacabra, number 7. He says Trayvon Walker at 4 and Drake London at 10. I got no problem with Drake London at 10. I think that fans need to start opening their eyes a little bit. I think that for a long time we were telling ourselves there's only one type of wide receiver that can play in this offense. And I think that Garrett Wilson certainly would fit real nice. But I think Drake London makes a ton of sense as well, right? Like, Joe Douglas loves guys that have that size and the speed combination. And we don't have anybody built like him on this offense. There's nobody like Drake London on our team right now. Say whatever you want about him. He's certainly not he's not going to ever be a separator like a Garrett Wilson or like a Jahan Dotson or a Chris Olave. But he can do things that they can't. And I think that's something that's worth considering at that 10th overall spot. Mike Knight, what's going on? You're a girl dad just like me, so that means you're a cool dad. He says we have way more flexibility in the draft now. Love the signings. Yeah, dude. 5 picks in the top 70, 4 in the top 38. We can keep stacking chips on the offensive side. We can keep stacking chips on the defensive side. And speaking of which, I'm going to give myself a little kudos here. I've been preaching all offseason about a balanced approach to the offense, to the defense, to free agency, to the draft. And the Jets are doing a little bit of kind of what I've been suggesting. Sometimes I hear from fans like, okay, we need to heavily invest and we got to focus only on the defense in free agency, and then vice versa. We only need to focus on the offense in the draft, and it flips around. People, depending on who you talk to, I say screw that. That's not how that's work. And that's not how that works. You got to go. You have to have an open mind and balanced approach when building a football team. And I think that they are showing that right now, having signed 2 starters for the defense and also 2 starters for the offense. And I think that there's the case that could be made. They're going to do the exact same thing in the draft, right? They're going to probably add 2 starters with the 4th pick, the 10th pick, the 35th, and the 38th. And they're going to probably add 2 more defensive starters as well. So love what you're saying there. And the flexibility is outstanding. Joe Douglas has preached that all along. Got to have flexibility when building a football team. Richard Horton. Chandler is from Rochester. I knew it. I thought so. Which in essence is South Canada. Hey, man, he's from New York. That's all I know. If he's on the tip, it still counts, right? I'm cool with him coming back to New York if he's willing to play maybe on not a lesser deal, but maybe a team friendly contract, somewhere where we can afford him. Because right now I don't think we can pay him right now. I don't think it's going to work out. Kev Chadda, Quincy Williams is good depth. I agree. What's up, dude? Appreciate you. I try my best when I'm by myself. I feel a little awkward because all I feel like I'm doing is just rambling. I hope I'm engaging you guys enough. That's my main goal with these live streams, specifically when I'm by myself, is trying to get you guys involved. Michael Elias, my bodyguard, he says, with signing bonuses and whatnot, we could certainly still have decent cap space still. Yes. And they can, listen, they can structure these contracts in a way, like you said, signing bonuses. They can also restructure some contracts as well. We haven't done that as of yet. Would love to see some people restructure contracts. And again, we're going to make some cuts too. And just look at what the Jaguars have done this offseason. I mean, my God, they have thrown money around everywhere. And you sit there and you wonder, how do they have the cap space? It's because the cap is a very flexible beast. You can do all kinds of things to, create space. That's why. And I'm sorry if you felt this way. I'm not trying to step on any toes. But why in the hell would it have been impossible for the Jets to trade for Amari Cooper? When people were talking about his $20 million price tag and it was too much money, I say bogus. I say BS. I mean, I get it. Like, it would have certainly eaten into a lot of our cap space. But come on. We could have made it work, right? I'm over it. But I'm just saying. The cap is, like you said, it's a very, very flexible thing. And there is still a lot of flexibility. The Jets can make more space. So I am with you, man. Whew, you guys are unbelievable. 181 of you in here. Go ahead and hit the like button. Subscribe to Jets Today, please. Would really appreciate that. Richard Horton with a question. He says, when are you going to team up with some of the other Jets content creators? If you have already, my bad. I have done my best. So I have involved DJ Bieneme of the Daily News. I have also collaborated with Jake Asman before. He's come on the show. It's been about a year. And I reached out to Jake Asman, I would say about a month ago. And I said, can you come on when we're getting closer to the draft? He said, absolutely. So Jake Asman is a guy that you can expect to see in the next couple of weeks. And Green Bean, if you're aware of who Green Bean is, I'm sure you are. I've had him on the show. He's had me on his show. Great guy. Really, really friendly dude. And that's about it. I'm still looking to, build, and collaborate with other people. There's so many great dudes though. And I've been in contact with most of them. I've talked to Ryan from Jets Talk 24/7. I've talked to him over the last, year or so. I've had a lot of questions for those guys. Matt O'Leary I've talked to as well. And they're just so very gracious and willing to help and answer my questions, because I do have a lot. I had a lot of them at the beginning. I needed a lot of help to get this going. Okay. You should do a show with Frankie. What in the hell? With Frankie from Flatbush. That is a great recommendation. And you know what? I will DM him, because I've talked to Frankie in the past, and he used to watch the show a lot more. Now that he's creating his own, his own content, I think he's a lot busier. but I would love to have him on the show. So I appreciate you recommending him. I will potentially reach out to him. You know, if you guys want that, let's do it. I'm happy to jig with other people. That's my thing. Jeremy Cravat was on last night. He came on for a hot take. Absolutely. I enjoy working with other people for sure. All right. We got 190 of you now. You guys are relentless. You're so thirsty. Let's keep going. Let's keep going here. Bino, he says the Jaguars are acting like drunken sailors, throwing money around. That's going to burn them in a couple of years. If it's not going to burn them in a couple of years, then what wizardry are they pulling, right? It has to impact them at some point. I think they've done an okay job, you know, aside from spending probably too much money. I think they've tried their very, very best to support Trevor Lawrence. It's hard to say if that's going to work out, you know, all of the things that they've done. I think they need some help on the offensive line, and my fingers are still crossed that they will take an offensive lineman at number 1 overall, because that's probably the last ingredient that Trevor Lawrence needs. And having another team selecting an edge rusher at that, before pick 4, I think it's just going to help the Jets' chances of landing a bona fide edge rusher in this draft. Man, you guys are crazy. Let's go. Jets fans are the best. Antonio Jimenez, he says, Danielle Hunter, Saquon Barkley, or DK Metcalf, who's a better trade candidate for the Jets? Oh, man. You're going to make me do this? All right, so Saquon Barkley is number 3 for me. He's not number 1. I like Michael Carter a lot. I like the idea of, you know, going after running backs in the mid to late rounds, you know, getting the value out of them. Their careers are just too short. We're seeing that with Barkley. Danielle Hunter is a very, very intriguing pass rusher, but I feel really good about our chances to land one at number 4 or number 10. For me, the clear-cut answer, if we could add any of these 3 players, I'm ranking a DK, Danielle Hunter, and then Barkley. DK Metcalf would change the entirety, you know, the projection of what I think this offense can be in 2022. He is a breed unlike any other. If you talk about, you know, a horse, you know, going to the horse race, he is that special breed. He is just phenomenal and unbelievable size, unbelievable speed. And again, just take a few moments to just picture Zach Wilson throwing the ball to him. I think that's all that needs to be said. Appreciate you, Joshua Mitchell, for hitting it. Drupacabra. You can post anytime because I like saying your name. He says, can't take Williams. London is better anyway. I think you mean Jamison Williams, right? I think that we can take him, but it can't be at 10. I think that's what you're probably saying. And the boys at Jets X Factor, I respect them a lot. And they seem to be very high on Drake London. And to be honest with you, man, there's not a whole lot of Jets content creators' opinions that I respect more than the guys at Jets X Factor. They do some phenomenal work, and they know what they're talking about X's and O's wise. So if they're into Drake London, I'm into Drake London. All right. Yes, I've seen that. Mr. Frankie from Flatbush is on with Mr. Greenbean. They got a good thing going. I'm not trying to break up that party, you know? Let's see. Hello, I'm late. Let's go Jets. I'm fired up, dude. Very, very fired up. And the thing is we now finally have some clarity, right? Something that we haven't talked about, or I haven't talked about, and that you guys haven't talked too much about, I don't think, is that the picture is now starting to become a lot more clear. You're probably right. He does have a fantastic voice. He reads books. He does the narration for book reading, I think. I think that's like his job. The clarity that we now have from, you know, having signed some of these players in free agency, we now know what they're going to probably do a little bit more in the draft, right? We have a little bit more of an understanding of what's coming. And it just creates even more excitement, if you ask me, having a better picture of what's going to come. It's just super, super exciting stuff. Speaking of Frankie's voice, his voice is far better than mine. I pretty much sound like a child, right? I got that higher end voice. Let's keep moving. We won't talk about my voice. Brendan Nilsson. This Jags free agency reminds me too much of our notorious Mosley and Bell free agency. Good Lord. And we were supposed to land Anthony Barr in that free agency period as well. Could you imagine the cap troubles that we would have had if we had landed Anthony Barr, Mosley, and Bell? Good golly gracious. Too much. Let's keep going here. Scherf will be on IR game 1 during the national anthem. I respect people that really wanted him because he's a really good offensive lineman. But the problem is, it's that saying, when he's healthy, right? The guy's just not healthy. He's never healthy. He's missing games every single season, it seems. And so, no, I did not want Brandon Scherf for that reason and that reason alone. Please and no thank you. Let's keep... Colton said they're spending all this money to go 3-14. Yikes. Let's keep going. You guys are crazy. Just so much action in this chat. I can barely keep up. I got to all my... Okay. Seamus McGinn. He says, but that doesn't take into account signing bonuses and all that they can do. So they should sign others if they want to. I'm not saying that they won't sign other people. I'm just predicting that they won't. I would love it. If they can go and get Allen Robinson, or if they can go out and get Chandler Jones, you will not see me shed any tears. Believe me. Go after DK in free agency. I think they're going to wind up tagging him, right? They probably won't let him hit free agency. I couldn't imagine that. Could you imagine the contract he would get after what we saw Christian Kirk get? Good Lord. Would be crazy. Let's see. Lots of people talking about the Jags. Is Gardner still an option? Great question. I do need another topic change here, and this is a great one. I've been talking about the idea of adding Gardner at pick 4 or pick 10. I would have considered doing so. But at this point in the game, after we spent, $11 million to pick up DJ Reed, I think they really like him. I still feel really good about Bryce Hall. I think they like Brandon Eccles. Michael Carter II, I think, is no slouch. I think they really like him. And I would even be okay with them bringing Javelin Guidry back, the guy that we had, as a nickel cornerback, a slot cornerback. I think that, the more impressing need right now is pass rush and maybe even linebackers and safeties. So to answer your question, could he be an option? I think that that's completely in bounds to say that. But I think that what the Jets will do is that they're going to probably settle for what they have at the cornerback position and, roll with what they got. And again, if they improve the pass rush, it's going to impact our secondary tremendously. They're going to be able to make plays on the ball that we have not seen in a very, very, very long time. Interceptions, deflecting passes, hurrying the quarterback, and just hitting him. And that's ultimately what leads to winning on defense, is being able to impact the quarterback down-to-down basis. Yes, Joe Blewett does like Drake London. I'm down for it, man. What wide receiver should we pick at 10? We've talked a little bit about that. I would say right now the one that I expect would be Garrett Wilson if he's available. And then if not, Drake London seems like some safe money. I don't think that Treylon Burks is the option. I think that we all talked about him, including myself, as a potential fit at 10. He's no way he's going to go in the top 10, and he's certainly not going to go at 10 for the Jets. I would even consider Chris Olave ahead of Treylon Burks at this point. So that's my answer. Appreciate it, Blunted Vegas. Hit that like button. Yes, please do. And I will be wrapping this up shortly. I believe that Talking Jets is going. I'm not trying to kick y'all out. I would love to stay on here with you. Sean McAteer, great show, bro. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't. Thank you very much. That's very kind of you. And thank you, Daniel Bonilla, for subscribing. Really appreciate that. Let's keep it going here. Miles Jack, I think, is no laughing matter. I think that's a legit option. All right, we got Eagle Fang in here, guy I like to talk to on Twitter. We were arguing a little bit back and forth about Mr. Amari Cooper. I hope you understand, sir. I am all about the debate. No hard feelings. I love the fact that we disagreed. All good. And I'm sure you agree with that. So he says, hello, Jets today. I'm happy Joe Douglas did not overspend for players and got some major needs. These guys they signed today are instant upgrades where it was needed and an instant upgrade, but more work will be coming. You are right, sir. And in the end, they are able to get some really good football players, and they are going to fill that wide receiver position in the draft. It's pretty clear. And I thank you very, very much for the comment. You're absolutely right. They've done a fantastic job this offseason. One of the best that I can recall in a long time. Mike Jerome, thank you so very much for the super chat. You're very, very kind to do that. Helps me a lot. He says there's no clear-cut wide receiver in the draft. Top 5. All do something different. I'm down to trade pick 10 and get more picks. Kayvon Thibodeau at 4. Wilson, Olave, or London in the teens. Brisker 35. Trey McBride 38. Early 3rd could be John Mechie. And 68 Tyndall. Listen, all of those things you just said are great. And I have zero problem trading back from 10. The only thing I will say is if they can land Garrett Wilson at 10, I'm not trading back. I would take him at 10 probably. I think that's a great move for the Jets to consider doing. And I do have a video on the channel actually talking about that, talking about the idea of trading down being, a very, very advantageous, possibility for the Jets to be able to accumulate more draft picks and still be able to land some great football players. No kidding. They re-signed Nate Shepard? You are kidding me. Bodyguard, you're not doing your job. You're making up phony stuff. There's no way. They really re-signed Nate Shepard? I'm checking Twitter. I don't believe you. Did they really? I can't find it. I don't want to sit here and look at my phone, though. Can somebody confirm this? Did Nate Shepard re-sign? That would be interesting. I don't know if I would agree with that re-signing. He was a penalty machine last year. An absolute penalty waiting to happen. Wow. Tom Pelissero. All right. You name dropped him. I got to believe you, dude. That's interesting. Mike Knight, he says, I can't remember the last time we had a plan. Very excited to see it all play out. And not only a plan, but a plan with multiple pathways that we can take, right? We're not locked into one specific thing. We can do a bunch of different things. Mike Jerome, he says, you don't think Michi, is top 15 before the injury? I don't know if I'm saying that necessarily. I think that with the wide receiver class the way that it is, there was a lot of competition for the top 15 already. So him getting hurt, I think that he was probably a first round pick, right? Like we can all agree there. Where he would have gone in the first round is certainly up for debate. But that's another dude. That's another big guy. And he's an option, man. I don't think in the first round, but again, I think you're talking more so about the pre-injury draft stock. Connor Hughes is confirming it. Wow. Okay, so Nate Shepard is back in the mix. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm going to actually go ahead and I'm going to say That's the first move of the offseason that I don't really love, right? I don't know. I'm sure it was cheap. And that's kind of what Vern's saying. Hopefully it's just cheap and he can stop with the penalties. Yeah. And I guess that's the benefit, right? We're not spending a whole lot at the defensive tackle spot. I got no problem with it, I guess. As long as it's cheap, like you said. And again, we've got enough guys. He shouldn't have to play a ton on defense. Certainly he'll be a rotational piece, but I don't want to see him down to down out there, playing a lot of football. And Mike Jerome, you said it best. He's depth. Okay, let's see here. James Wighouse. What's up, James? Is he playing for free? I am shocked that they re-signed him. I think that... So the one thing I will say is that kind of makes me wonder about Jonathan Marshall. Maybe they don't think he's quite ready yet. I would have liked to have seen them maybe go somewhere else. But he's going to be real cheap. I think we can all agree there. There's not going to be a lot of money that went his way. And by the way, guys, if you don't know who this is, James Wighouse will be the man joining me tomorrow night. And if you're new to the channel, fantastic contributor of Jets X Factor. He has a lot of knowledge about the X's and O's of the game. And to be honest with you, that's why he's here. He's not as good looking as me, but he's got a great mind for football. And that's why we keep him around. Hopefully you guys can consider joining us for that. And he'll give us some more, some of his takes on this free agency group and also where we're heading in the draft. We're also going to be talking about the top 10 running backs in the NFL draft tomorrow night. So hopefully you guys check out that. Okay. Ildilly. I think I said it right. Ildilly. Really wanted a proven wide receiver 1 for Zach. I'm all for drafting Wilson at 10, but it's always risky with wide receivers. Not everyone is Chase or Jefferson. Would like to use the number 10 on a cornerback or an offensive lineman. Maybe we could get A-Rob for cheap. Whew. I don't know, dude. That's going to be one of those things. Is he going to be able to handle that? Because Christian Kirk got bank. And I'm sure that's why Allen Robinson's still sitting there. He's probably sitting there waiting and sitting there and saying to himself, I want that. And he's certainly not going to get it because he's a little bit older than Christian Kirk. And I think that maybe the market, is starting to cool with wide receivers. The Bucs signed Russell Gage. The Jacksonville Jaguars have signed a bunch of guys. I don't know. And I think the Detroit Lions signed somebody as well. Is Juju Smith-Schuster still available? That could be an intriguing name to maybe add as a depth piece. Thank you very much, the other one. Really appreciate that. Hope you have a good night as well. I'm going to be logging off here pretty shortly, guys. I've had an awesome time talking with you, but I got to get ready for tomorrow night. That's going to be another long stream. Let's see here. Joe Campione. Reed played the majority of his career at free safety and slot corner. 30 targets at left cornerback were horrible. 35 targets at right cornerback. They were above average. He's a great slot. Okay, that's good information. So maybe DJ Reed we shouldn't really be looking at as a outside guy, but more so as the new slot cornerback of this football team. And he does play against the run very well, so maybe that's why we saw such a high grade from him, is because he is playing it in the slot. So not necessarily flipping, but it's surprising, I guess, right? That they signed him. Joe Campione, thank you for dropping that little nugget about DJ Reed. I really appreciate that. All right, let's see here. Jags blew that wide receiver market. Yep, it's screwed, A-Rob, 100%. King Joe, he says James Washington wide receiver. I didn't know he was available. The Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver, that could be an intriguing option as well. Thank you very much, great Big Daddy. Really appreciate that. Falcons need more than wide receiver, but they do need a wide receiver. They very well could be the team that pulls and takes a wide receiver at 8. Garrett Wilson, Drake London, you could see that for sure. And there's rumors right now they might be actually, one of the teams that's going to get to meet with Deshaun Watson. So maybe they would be looking for a wide receiver if they land him. I got you. No worries. No worries. And you're right. Submission 72. He says, John, to be honest, these are okay moves. We got starters. That's it. We didn't get stars. We just got starters. It's a solid B, but not an A or A+. That's fair. Submissions, I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. The only thing I will say is that star shopping in free agency is a dangerous, dangerous thing. Big fish signings can work out. Obviously, there's many examples of it, panning out in the NFL. But for everyone that is successful, there are a handful that just do not work out. And again, you want to miss in the draft more than you want to swing big and miss in free agency. I hope that makes sense what I just said. Because with the draft pick misses, you're financially not screwed. When you miss in free agency with these huge contracts, you are essentially cap screwed. It's going to impact you for the long haul. So for that reason, I give it let's say an A-, because we're getting guys at a fair deal, a fair contract. It's not going to inhibit us from making moves this summer. It's not going to inhibit us from making moves next offseason. And it won't inhibit us from making moves if any of these guys don't pan out. So you're perfectly fine in saying it's a solid B, though. That's a fair grade, I think. No doubt about it. Thank you for that comment. Great stuff from you. Reed's a great move. Backup corner, free safety, starting slot, kick returner. Lots of versatility there. Matt Ryder, he says, agreed. Getting starters is what we want. Big names, always a crapshoot. We've been screwed too many times recently, and I think that JD's never really going to let that happen. The only scenario where we're going to really hurt from a free agent signing is if they just can't stay healthy. If we have Carl Lawson, come into this year again, and he still can't stay healthy, and if he just can't get on the football field, that will make that a signing that we will say to ourselves, like, dang, we missed out. We missed out in getting a player that could contribute. And a lot of that's luck. All right, guys. It's 8:12. I'm going to let you all go. I hope you all have an awesome night. Thank you guys so very, very much. This was another huge stream for me. Still only a year or so into this. And I just can't thank you guys enough for, tuning in, commenting. You guys have absolutely made the last couple of nights some of the biggest in the channel's history. And I love talking Jets football, as you can see. And I just can't wait to do it, all throughout this spring and this summer. That's what this is going to be all about. We're going to lead our way all the way to the NFL season. I will see you guys tomorrow night, and it'll be James Wighouse and myself, and we're going to talk Jets all night long tomorrow night. So check out that stream link. It is on the channel. I believe it's episode 46, and I just cannot... Sylv Scouts, really appreciate that. These comments that you guys leave, it really means a lot. It really does. These are some really helpful comments. They keep me motivated, keep me hungry for creating content for you guys. So I'm going to leave it there. Thank you guys so much again. Day 2 of free agency is in the books. Have an awesome night, guys. I will see you tomorrow night. Have a great night. Go Jets. See you guys next time. Word from my daughter.